Do you think your students are still watching commercials on TV? Okay. So I looked at, so this was 2001, I looked at an update for 8 to 18-year-olds, the digital natives, in 2010. So here is what the research showed. They spent, 2 years ago, they spent over 7.5 hours per day using entertainment media. Now, in total, actually, that was close to 11 hours per day. That might have been, yes, per day, when one counts all of the simultaneous uses of social media. You know, you have seen it. They're not just using Facebook. They're also texting at the same time, okay? They might be on the phone. They might be doing some other things. Right, you know, if they've got an iPhone and an iPad and a computer, they're using all three of them, probably listening to their iPod as well. So it's this kind of multimedia work that we need to fit in and fit into our educational modes. Okay, one more thing I should point out then, as you see there, TV. How many of you still have a TV, a real regular TV screen at home that the young ones, the digital natives, are actually using and sitting in front of? Well, I have one. But she doesn't watch it. She watches TV where? On the computer. Or, as you see up here, on the cell phone, on the iPad, okay? So those TV screens, they're probably going to get cheaper very quickly, which is a good thing for me. I'm married to an economist, and he loves things cheap. So I looked at an update for 2012 and found this. Our online teens, 13 to 17, did this. This was just in the US, okay? I do not have the figures for Colombia or any other country. So there was a study of 1,030 teens in the United States, and it was found that 90% of them used some form of social media. As one would expect, it probably is not much different here. And what do we mean by social media? You mentioned them earlier. Twitter. How many of you use Twitter on a regular basis? A few. Okay. Not the majority. Several of you. Okay. So you have dabbled with Twitter. Some of you might be using it more regularly. So 22% have a Twitter account and use it. 68%, now the number is much higher, use Facebook as their main social networking site. 6% use Twitter, so much smaller number, and 1% for Google+. Who's using Google+? Oh, just 1 or 2, 3. Oh, okay, a few hands going up. Check it out, Google+. There's a Google+ Hangout where you can chat. Okay, so it's a very nice social medium, very similar to Facebook. So it's another one. 68% text every day, and 23% are heavy social media users. Okay, now let's look at this table on the right side here. The survey found that social networking use and use of mobile devices, and you guys could guess this, such as smartphones and iPads, is increasing, while the use of computers is decreasing. Okay, so 52% have checked their site from a mobile device. 52%. But mainly from their computers, still 27% check their site from a computer. Sorry, I got it wrong. Okay, 57% still check it from the computer, but 27%, and this number is only going to go up, 27% check their site mainly from their mobile device, such as their iPhone or their iPad. Does this reflect something that you find in your own classrooms? When you ask your students, do you talk to your students about how they use social networking sites, if they use the computer or if they use their iPhone or iPad? What do you see mostly? Computers still? Smartphones, yeah. Okay, good. All right. Is anybody familiar with these two textbooks? These two books, Alone Together, and What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains. Okay, The Shallows. You might have heard of them. In fact, at St. Michael's College, our incoming freshmen are now using this one here, The Shallows, as the main textbook for their freshman seminar. So all undergraduate students are discussing this one. And I'm going to give you some quotes. Now, social media have done things to our brains. They have also done things to our interaction, right? I'm sure all of you have noticed this. So Sherry Turkle, the author of Alone Together, and you can imagine what that's about. She describes these as disruptive technologies. And she says, we live in a world of distraction. Kids sleep with their cell phones. My daughter does, I know that. She's almost 24. It says we in the book, but I'm not sure, I don't think she's talking about me, really. She says, we become anxious without our cell phones. In our world of social media, we are connected with thousands of people, and yet we are alone on our computer or our mobile devices. I continue the quote. Connectivity offers the illusion of companionship without the reality of friendship. It's a connection that is made to measure by bits and seconds and maybe minutes. We hide from each other and measure the amounts of connection. We are too busy communicating to think, to create, or to connect with the people that we are with. This to me is very frightening. But it is the reality, and I can only hope that it's going to change, but it is the reality. Nicholas Carr, the author of The Shallows, argues that every information technology carries an intellectual ethic, a set of assumptions about the nature of knowledge and intelligence. He explains, for example, that the printed book served to focus our attention. I still read books. I do have an iPad. I do not use it to read books. Sorry, I won't. Because I really interact with my books, I know that I can highlight on and take notes on my iPad. I just don't. When I interact with my books, they promote deep and creative thought. I'm really in there. In stark contrast, he says, the internet encourages the rapid, distracted sampling of small bits of information from many sources. I'm sure you can all relate to that. And he says it's the ethic of the internet is the ethic of the industrialist. I thought that was a very interesting parallelism. An ethic of speed and efficiency. I'm sure those words ring true for all of us. Optimized production and consumption. And now the internet is remaking us in its own image. I used to pride myself, and now I'm questioning that. I used to pride myself of becoming more adept at scanning and skimming But as the research shows, we are losing our capacity for concentration, contemplation, and reflection. And if anybody tells you that they are multitasking, you know what the recent research has shown? It is not possible. Our brain cannot multitask. It can only do tasks sequentially. Okay? So it's something that we as educators need to think about, but we also need to translate that into what we do with our students and what we teach them about technology and its good uses and maybe not so good uses. So what are the implications for education, in particular language learning or English as a second language, which I teach, or English as a foreign language, which you teach here? What are your predictions? I would like to hear some regarding education. What do you think the digital natives are going to do?
I think we're already seeing that. For example, here at the Centro Colombo we have some blended learning. It's increasing actually. I guess all of the classes in the adult program, well, we teachers have our students use the platform, the Cambridge LMS, which is serviced by Cambridge University. They have like a platform online. They have to, all students have to create an email address and an email account. They have to access the platform. So like students are using the internet here to learn English as a foreign language, as you said it. I think we already see what's happening. We're using more and more the Web 2.0 tools.
Good, and I will talk more about those. Have you seen or encountered any kind of resistance to using technology for education, for educational uses? No. I think this is where our challenge lies as educators. We need to show them that these tools, while they are wonderful for social networking, they are also wonderful for education. So I think this could be our mission. And speaking of the tools that you mentioned, okay, the implication is that learning is ubiquitous. So this is our first implication. We can learn. We can take courses anywhere, anytime. You have heard this before. But now we can even do it virtually. So I'm going to show you a few examples as to what is already happening in terms of learning ubiquitously.
Welcome to the perfect place to improve your English. Language App's virtual world, English City, is an amazing city designed to help you learn English as quickly as possible. In English City, you are immersed in the language, just like in a real English-speaking city. You will meet amazing teachers, be part of a truly international community, and become fluent fast. This is how it works. You visit English City online through your computer. All you need is a headset and a good internet connection. Everyone you meet is a real person you can talk to. You can talk to native English speakers, qualified teachers, anywhere at any time. It's not a game, it's not a CD-ROM, everything is live. In English City, you can take classes at all levels, from beginner to advanced. Lessons are in real time and everyone contributes. Conversations are funny, surprising, and great for improving your English.
I think it's sculptures. It's sculptures.
English City is like any real city. It has restaurants, cafes and bars, a school, business centre and hospital, an art gallery and airport, shops, parks, and there's even an oil rig. Classes can take place in any part of the city, so conversations in the cafe, aviation English at the airport, discussions in the art gallery, business English in the conference centre, and so on, all in English, of course. Classes are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You learn when it's best for you. It's very flexible and you choose the type of classes you want. So, what are you waiting for? Come and join us today.
Hi, how can I help you?
Okay, so this was an ad for languagelab.com. Okay? If you go to that website, you will see exactly, and I've got the links written there, so you can do that again if you want. You will see this particular video. So what did we see here? Language learners are no longer tied to the classroom. The teachers and the students are represented by avatars. We have a virtual school using Second Life. How many of you have heard of Second Life? How many of you have entered it, created an avatar maybe? Some of you, okay? It's quite interesting. So now, virtual schools are possible for teaching English. Okay, here's another one. So as we said, English is ubiquitous. Here's probably the most well-known site for language learning. It's not just for English, but also for Spanish and German and a few other languages. So it's an ad, again, it's very short, but it illustrates how language instruction takes place.
Great pronunciation.
¿Dónde está el backbone?
Excellent.
Who are your friends? Oh, they're teaching me Spanish.
Excellent.
I'm learning Spanish with Armando. You should say it like this. Baño.
Buongiorno, and he's teaching me English.
Prost, lass es dir schmecken. On livemovie.com, I'm learning with real people all around the world.
Online language courses with help from native speakers. Live Mobile, because language begins with a conversation.
Great pronunciation.